All right, Suzanne, can already tell this is going to be a really delightful video.
A lustful man is dumber than a bag of rocks.
Wow, so first statement is already bull. Okay, all men are lustful, each and every one on earth. Here's the main difference. Different men have different coping strategies. Yes, I'm calling them coping strategies because that's what they are. To manage their lust. We are designed by nature to be lustful. Women have driven us over thousands of years to be lustful. The reason is the lustful ones are the only ones that are creative enough to always find a way to reproduce. That lust is essentially what drives them. The ones that you think aren't lustful are the ones that have enough of an abundance that they don't have to act on it at all times, and they've built a very, very good strategy as to how to manage that lust correctly. That is the only difference. The sad part is girls always misinterpret this. They think that when they go for a guy that's not lustful, they think it's because he's just a better man. He is better, but not for the reasons that she thinks he is. He's not lustful because he likely already has his pick of the litter and he doesn't have the pressure of sex. You choosing him is only reinforcing the fact that girls like guys that have other girls. Whether you like this reality or not, this is the reality.
They are so in this trap of just being captivated by a woman's body. A lustful man will give up his entire life. He'll end up in this nasty divorce where he loses half of everything.
Him losing half of everything is a construct made by weak men. Also, way back in the day, it used to serve to protect families because oftentimes women weren't working, not like they do today. There's always this problem with who's going to manage women in society now. If a man leaves her, who's going to take care of her? So what happened then? So what happened was the government decided to throw that responsibility into the hand of the man. The government itself is never going to take responsibility because that becomes a huge financial liability. It's much easier to shame men into paying the bill and everyone buys in because that is the moral thing to do. Obviously. It's one of those scenarios where girls have responsibility when it suits them, but they don't have responsibility when it doesn't suit them. So they get to double dip, essentially. Especially now in the modern era where they have full-time jobs and they still get the benefit of working as they want or not want while still maintaining all of the leverage of working even if they're not working as much because they're still contributing a little bit. Their little contribution now becomes as potent as a slightly larger contribution because emotions. This is all just man-shaming garbage. If men weren't lustful like they are, we'd have a lot more problems. And it's always that devil of the known versus the devil of the unknown. In many cases, that unknown devil is much more evil than the one you know. But because the one you know, you can see in front of your eyes and you can see the direct impact, it's easy to point it out. Okay. Just to cap off this point, what I find really interesting too is at the same time, this woman is complaining about how men are lustful. And other women, way more women, are complaining about how guys aren't approaching them anymore. How does it make any sense? So you hate that guys are lustful, but you also then complain that guys aren't approaching. So which one is it? What is the guy supposed to do? What is the perfect man supposed to do now in order to get a woman? And the truth is, never ask the fish, only ask the fisherman. Okay, guys that have a motivation to be with women, they are going to continuously get women. And of course, there's a component of that that's going to be directly correlated to lust. Okay, we all want that. This is just the way it is. Is there good ways and bad ways of going about this? Probably. Right? There probably is, and then we kind of have an idea of that. But to completely eliminate it altogether would be denying our humanity, and that is a bigger problem since we never talk about female lust the same way, right? We just don't. Even though female lust is equally, if not larger of a problem, if you view it as such. For example, you can view female lust as hypergamy. Females have lust too, just that their form of lust is different than ours. Okay? Is it equally as bad or whatever? I mean, we can go down the rabbit hole, but I think it takes away from the point right now.
Because he couldn't exercise self-control. A lustful man will chase after a woman that could not care less about him, sacrificing the relationship with his wife, with his kids. There's married men with families that'll get caught with these secret porn addictions. And the media and algorithms, they know that there are so many men that are so foolish that it will target you because you're such an easy target to prey on.
The same way they target you with makeup ads and all these stupid things that you don't need to buy. that you buy anyways. You're equally as foolish, if not more foolish. So you can keep going on this shaming campaign about how guys are so foolish. I mean, it's built into our core. Do I think it's a holy thing that guys are going and doing this and impacting their families? Obviously not. Obviously, I don't believe that. But at the same time, to try to pretend that they're so stupid is dumb. It's just like saying that you're stupid for being emotional during your time of the month. It's just hormones. You know what's going on. You know it's just your body sending you signals. Why are you crying so much if you know that's the case? It's such a stupid thing to say, honestly. It's such a stupid thing to say. I'm so tired of this constant shaming.
If I was a man, I would be so offended that people thought I was that dumb.
You don't know what it's like to be a man. Don't even start. Not even remotely close. Okay, not even a fraction. Because if you did understand, you wouldn't have made this whole shaming campaign in the first place. Okay, it's always best to start looking at yourself first, then looking externally. The problem is you likely lack the self awareness to look at your own problems and how you contributed to mayhem. But it's very easy to see how that guy did it without knowing what's actually going on in the background. It's typical, isn't it?
I'll just always click, 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 and fall into this trap of lust and addiction. Whenever men will pay for like girlfriend service on these porn sites, a lot of these porn stars will admit like it's not even them they're talking to. It's people they've hired because they can't talk to every single guy. But men who are stuck in lust are so delusional. They think that this woman who sees you as a paycheck actually cares about you.
A lot of those men don't. Okay, it's an outlet for them. Like, and we need to stop with this. This is another great example of women shaming men and framing something in a way that doesn't exist. Okay, men are aware. They're just weak. That's all it is. They're just weak. I deal with men all the time. Thousands of men I've dealt with. It's not that they don't understand this. They're just weak and they want to indulge in the fantasy. It's similar to playing a video game, right? Guys play video games because they want to escape reality because reality is brutal. Do I think that men should be doing this? No, I don't think men should be doing this. Are they always going to do this? Yes. Not everyone can be the best man. Okay, not everyone can be the top of the hierarchy. There has to be a balance. And the way that some guys deal with this is they go to these outlets. It's not something I support or recommend, obviously. I always talk about how porn is a bad idea and it's not something you should be indulging in all the time. I think it takes away your energy on some level. So I'm always in favor of this. The problem is that it does serve as a buffer for the guys that simply can't get any. They indulge in that fantasy because that's the only way they can get even close to what it is. Women shaming them only reinforces it. Dealing with women, obviously, is extremely hard. It's not easy dealing with women, obviously, because they inevitably become a responsibility to you as a man. Despite what mainstream media wants to say about 50-50 and all this garbage, you're always going to be fronting more of the bill as a man. That is just the nature of how the world works.
It's crazy. Like, that's something that I don't think is talked about enough, is that if you fall into the trap of lust, the joke's on you. You're the fool. A lustful man is so easy to target.
An emotional woman is so easy to target. Oh, wait, you're all emotional.
To take advantage of, to make a profit off of, because they don't exercise self-control. They're captivated by any beautiful woman, and they don't care if she's a terrible person. They don't care if she's going to destroy their life, destroy the home that they've created. Stay away from lustful men.
I do agree with her on that point. Obviously, lustful men become easy prey because they're acting on their emotions. I'm always in favor of guys controlling that and not just buying OnlyFans and all this stupid junk that's out there. The main issue I have with this video, even though there's some truth sprinkled throughout, is that men are sick and tired of being lectured by women on how to be a good person, while at the same time, if you look at what women are doing in society, it is not a good thing. They are definitely not the ones maintaining the moral standard. What women are really good at doing is acting in the shadows. Men are very, very bad at acting in the shadows because when men do something, it's usually very direct and obvious. When women engage in immorality, it's usually very secret. You have to look one level beneath the surface to understand what's actually going on. Men need to be better, there's no denying it, but they definitely don't want to hear that from you. We got Marinate F stat.
A man who needs multiple women is unhappy with himself. Wanting that kind of attention feeds his ego and is just a distraction to cover up all of his insecurities. A real man doesn't need more than one woman.
So the amount of projection here is insane. We've seen it over and over and over again. Just another one One of thousands, if not millions, of examples of this, of course, right? I hate to break it to you, but every man that's honest to himself wants multiple women. It's sort of this unflattering reality where that's just the way we're biologically designed. We're always going to find women attractive. We're always going to want new women. Now, I'm not talking about the morality aspect of it. I'm not talking about what we should or shouldn't do depending on societal variables or religious variables. I'm going to stay out of that for now. I'm just saying that the impulse is always going to be there. I think the main issue, of course, with this video is we're always talking about men and men's impulses, but we don't really ever consider female impulses. Female impulses are very, very prevalent in society. There's not really that much shame towards them, to be honest. They're all over the place. Right now, for whatever reason, men are the ones that are being shamed. Men are the ones that are supposed to control themselves, yet women don't really have to. I think that's the main problem that a lot of guys have. I think most men will agree that it's a good idea for men to control their impulses. Now, if you're a man that can control his impulses and it's your conscious choice to want to have multiple women, what are you really going to say about that? If you're religious, namely Christian, sure, you can criticize that. Outside of those particular boundaries, how can you really criticize it? Liberals, which is approximately 50% of the Western world, they can't really say anything because most of them support something that is all about openness and against religion, or at least against traditionalism. Maybe not fully against religion, but you get my point. So basically, all this really is just projection and shaming language. Let's keep going.
He's going to invest his time into a woman that he sees a future with because he knows that's where real fulfillment comes from. But an insecure.
For you, yes. For you, that's where real fulfillment comes from. Now, obviously, if you're trying to satisfy a particular image or an ideal, then yes, you doing that as a man would also give you fulfillment. Once again, enter religion. If you're not bound by religion, I don't really see what the issue is. Fulfillment now becomes very, very subjective, doesn't it? Keep in mind, obviously, I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate here. I'm not necessarily revealing what my own views are on this because I'm trying to take a outside perspective. I'm trying to remove the construct of morality here since everybody seems to think it's subjective. So if it is subjective, why do you care so much if one person wants to have multiple wives or not? What I'm essentially doing is calling out the obvious cognitive dissonance that everybody in society buys into. Let's keep going.
Your man is going to play games and toy around with women's emotions, not giving.
Once again, this is just her unable to accept the reality that men want multiple women. It's an innate desire that all of us have. Now, a lot of guys might come forward and say, oh, that's not true. I only want one woman. When they do this, they're mainly protecting their own idealism. It's not that they don't want more women. It's just that they can't declare that because it conflicts with their idealism. They also can't virtue signal as easily if they admit the truth, so they decide to hide behind a lie. Now, me personally, I do think you can be honest while still attempting to live an idealistic life. What you often find, though, is that guys aren't honest and then they do a horrible job living that idealistic life. I don't really see the point in this, but let's continue.
A single care about the damage that he's doing to that poor girl.
If he's being honest and upfront, is he still doing damage?
All because he cares about his own validation.
It's not so much about validation as it is about principle. A lot of guys that have worked really hard and got to a certain level that have seen the way the world works, it's not that they want the validation. They want it out of principle. The principle being this: if a lot of you are going to act very similarly, then why would I just have one? For an idealistic relationship to work, both parties need to buy into the same ideal. What you'll typically find nowadays is that guys will buy into the ideal, but girls will selectively buy into the ideal as it serves them. Guys that reach a certain point understand this because they've seen it so many times over and over, and now they decide, well, what's the point? I'm not saying I like this mentality, but for me to sit here and pretend like I don't understand it would be a lie. Let's continue.
And boosting his self-esteem. But just remember, there's no amount of attention that will be enough for a man who doesn't feel whole inside.
I do have to point out the irony of her talking about men not feeling whole inside while she's spending 20 seconds straight putting on lipstick to appear a certain way to the outside world. If you truly felt so whole, why would you need to put on that much lipstick to feel good about yourself? Make it make sense, guys. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Don't forget to check my links in the description below.